Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name's Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Could I ask you to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem? If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Nurse May Hennessy. Born in Castlemaine in Victoria in 1893, May was the eldest daughter of James and Helen Hennessy. She was educated in nearby Bendigo, attending the Longley State School. After deciding to become a nurse, May undertook 3 years of nursing training at the Gippsland General Hospital in Sale. When war was declared in August 1914, civilian nurses were sought by the Australian Imperial Force to join the Australian Army Nursing Service. More than 3,000 women volunteered for active service during the First World War. They were posted to Britain, France, Belgium, the Mediterranean, India and the Middle East, where they worked in hospitals, on hospital ships and trains, or in casualty clearing stations closer to the front line. Hennessy joined the Australian Army Nursing Service in May 1917 at the age of 23. She embarked for overseas service within weeks of enlisting and was posted to Salonika in Greece. The hospitals there were mainly tent hospitals, and most of the patients were suffering from malaria, dysentery and other diseases. The conditions were difficult. The nurses toiled through hot, mosquito-infested summers and then had to endure freezing winters. In late October 1918, Nurse Hennessy was herself admitted to hospital, seriously ill with malaria. By February 1919, her condition had improved slightly and she was sent home to Australia. But her health deteriorated again while on board the transport ship Novgorod, and upon arrival at the end of March, she was immediately admitted to hospital in Geelong. Her condition had been complicated by dysentery and jaundice. Nurse Hennessy died on the 9th of April 1919 of acute nephritis, or inflammation of the kidneys. She was 25 years old. Hennessy was given a military funeral, which was reported by the Argus newspapers as one of the largest seen in Bendigo. A firing party of returned soldiers and a band playing the Dead March preceded the salvage wagon of the Bendigo Fire Brigade, on which was the coffin, according to the report on her funeral. This was followed by over 200 returned soldiers. The Bendigo Advertiser reported that over 100 wreaths were sent by organisations and sympathising friends, and these were placed in a cab which followed the mourning coaches. The service concluded with a volley of fire over the grave. Staff nurse May Hennessy is buried in the Bendigo Cemetery, in the same grave as her sister Annie and their mother Helen, who both died in 1953. Her name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Staff Nurse May Hennessy, who gave her life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you a very good evening. Thank you.